Continuing on with angle pair relationships, this video we're going to be talking about vertical angles. In the meantime, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Another math jewel coming in a minute. What's up, everybody? My name is Dana Harris with Young Gurus Math Tutoring, and I'm back again to drop some more math jewels. In this video, we're talking about vertical angles and angle pair relationships. So one of the most basic forms of angle pair relationships beyond complementary and supplementary angles are vertical angles. And vertical angles, I like to identify them with like the railroad sign that does that crisscross thing. So as you can see behind me in this diagram, we have some vertical angles, right? So vertical angles are the angles that are directly across from one another in that crisscross pattern, right? So as you can see, angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles. Angle 3 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Now, there's several different ways you might see these vertical angles drawn. Remember, vertical angles, their relationship is they are congruent, okay? So vertical angles are congruent. And this is the symbol for congruent. Please don't forget that. Congruent, right? So let's get into some examples of how to find values using vertical angles. So in this example, we want to find the value of the variable here. In this case, the variable is x, right? So we know that the relationship between vertical angles is that they're congruent. So we can create an equation from here that looks like this. We can say 105 equals 2x minus 11. Now, if you want to rewrite it saying 2x minus 11 equals 105, that is totally fine, okay? So either one of these will give you the same answer. So what we want to do is get x by itself. So I want to start by adding 11 to both sides. And that gives me 116 is equal to 2x. So this is saying 2 times some number equals 116. Well, the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2, right? So from there, 116 divided by 2 is going to be 58, right? So 58 equals x. In this case, we just need to find the value of x. We know that this angle is 105 degrees because it's a vertical angle. Similar concept in this next example, just different numbers. Now, we want to still find the value of x, but because these two angles are vertical, we can set them equal to each other and create an equation, right? So we can say 5x minus 2 equals 78, or we can say 78 equals 5x minus 2. You get the same answer. I'm going to go ahead and work with this one. I need x by itself, so I'll add 2 here. I'll add 2 there. That gives me 80, and 80 equals 5x. Those cancel. So 5 times what number equals 80? And in this case, 5 times 12 is 60. So this, and then 5 times 4 is 20. So 60 plus 20 is 80. So 16 equals x. All right. And anytime you want to double check to make sure your math is correct, you simply just do plug it back in. So 5 times 16 is 80. 80 minus 2 is 78. And we can always check our answer like that. Now, in this example, we're going to add a little bit more to it. Make it a slight bit more complicated. We still have, so we have now x and y, right? So we can create a relationship or a equation from this set of vertical angles, and then from there we can figure out what the value of y is as well. So I want to start off by saying 6x is equal to 4x plus 16. Remember, this is just a degree measure represented by an algebraic expression. So I want to solve this expression or this equation now. Minus 4x. Those cancel, I get 2x is equal to 16. Divide that by 2, and x equals 8, right? So now, I know that x equals 8. That tells me something that I'm going to need to get y. So watch this. This angle measure of 6x degrees and 11y degrees, they are they are supplementary angles, right? They're supplementary angles because they form that straight line, right? They're also collinear angles. There's several different angle pair relationships. So if these are supplementary, that tells me that they have a sum of 180 degrees. So I can find out what the measure of this angle is by saying 6 times 8, right? Which that equals 48, right? So this is 48 degrees. And that's, I'm just going to point it there. That's 48 degrees. So now in order to find y, I can say 48 plus 11y equals 180. Now I just solve for y. So minus 48, 11y equals 132. And then divide by 11, and I get y equals 12. All right, so y equals 12. So 11 times 12 is 132. So we can double check. You always want to, if you're unsure, you always want to substitute the values that you get when you solve an equation back into the original equation. All right. One last example, and I threw some curves in this one. So notice you have two variables. Here we have 56 degrees. We have this angle is y degrees, this angle is 2x degrees, and this angle is 7x degrees. So we've got to pull out some relationships, right? Well, I see that actually this angle here is vertical to that angle. So we're going to create an equation from that. So we're going to say 56 equals 7 times x, all right? Now, from there, 7 times what equals 56? 7 times 8. But let's use inverse operation. So 8 equals x, right? So now that I know 8 equals x, I also want to find y. But how am I going to find y? Well, first things first, I can do a couple of different things. There's not just one way to do this. So I see that this angle of 7x degrees and this angle of 2x degrees forms a linear pair with y. So we can add all three of those up and get 180. That's the approach I'm going to take. But in order to do that, I first want to substitute 8 in for these two x's, right? So basically, x is equal to 8. So 7 times 8 plus 2 times 8 plus y equals 180 degrees. Once again, these three angles form a linear pair or collinear. They're all three of them together. They're supplementary. Several different ways to label that. And check out the video on linear pairs, right? So technically it wouldn't be a linear pair because it's only a pair would be 2. So these would be supplementary. So 56 plus 16 plus y equals 180 degrees. Let's add these together. So this would be 72. 50 plus 16 is 66 plus 6 is 72. 72 plus y equals 180. And then now we simply subtract 72 there, and we get y equals 8. All right. So y is equal to 8. All right. Actually, I'm sorry, that's 108. 180 minus 72, that's 108. I apologize for that mistake, right? It looks kind of weird when I saw 8 degrees. But this is all you had to do. Create that equation, and then you can find out the value of y. Young Gurus Math Tutoring. I got the solution to your math problems.